A cheeky little bonus episode for you on my first ever date. Wonder what it's going to all be about? There could be a little mention of a Barrie Island. Just a reminder before we get into things, to follow me on Instagram, Miss Brightside25, and you'll find a link in my bio to sign up to my emails. But don't worry, I won't spam you. I haven't got that much time to write emails. So, let's get into it. I might have promised you a little insight into my dating life. I have got some funny stories that I thought you'd all like to hear, if I'm honest with you. Most of my dating life has been genuinely hysterical. And I've got some weird and wonderful dating stories. So I thought I'd let you into maybe one of those stories today. And if you're lucky then, I'll just feed you stories in between the normal podcasts as we go. Before I get into my dating stories, if anyone out there is on the dating apps, please practice safe dating is my first advice. Make sure you got location services on. Make sure somebody knows you're going on a date. As a woman, and I know the same for men, and as a woman, we all know the fear when you feel like you're being followed in the street and you just have to walk a different way home and all those different things. Just practice all that safety first dating life. Don't forget about the Clare's law that we have in England and Wales. Under Clare's law, you have the right to make an application to the police requesting information about your current or ex-partner because you worried they may have been abusive in the past or believe they may pose a risk to you in the future. Anyone can do it as well, a family member. They can all do it through the online scheme. So I'm not an expert in this area. My advice to you is to Google Clare's law. It's known as the Domestic Violence Disclosure Scheme, DVDS. If you Google that, all the main links will come up and information on how you need to do it. But anyway, now you know about that. Let's get into my funny dating stories. My favourite thing is about my dating history. Because I have been single, I keep saying because I have been single. I'm no longer single. Because I was single for such a long time. And me and my friendship group went on many dates. We started to call people not by their names, by the made-up names that we had made for them. If you're going on dates, I'm sure you probably do this as well, to give you a little bit of a flavour of some of my favourite dating names and some of my favourite stories. I thought I'd just run through a little list of names that I used to call people. There was Thermal Curtains, 7 Foot Man, the Catfisher, Robo Arm, Bobby the Carman, the Rock Climber, and Barrie Island. They are just some of the names that I've called some of the dates I've been on. I thought I'd let you know today's story about Barrie Island. So Barrie Island was the first person I went on a date with ever, my first ever proper date. I think I was about 19. I was late to the dating scene. As you know, I wasn't very confident. Date. Super nervous. The nervous pools all day. If you know, you know. I went to Nando's. Now, Nando's in the town had very recently opened. I'd never been to a Nando's before. So I met him in the car park. Awkward conversation. I did know him from before. He didn't make it a little bit easier to have a conversation. In we goes to Nando's. Has no idea how to use the menu. We were the only people in there because it brand newly opened. And I don't think people were big into chicken as they were then. Or as they are now even. We had a nice chat in there. Conversation flowed. And then we get back in the car. He comes into my car because he'd driven up from Barrie. And I said to him, he's like, what do you want to do now? He's like, I don't know, I haven't been to this area before. You tell me. I went, shall I give you a tour of my town? And he was like, go on then. Well, it wasn't a normal tour of the town. Because in my eyes, people don't need to see the sights and the sounds of a town. It was pitch black as well, which doesn't help. I give him a tour of my version of my town, which was, this is where I failed my driving test. I bumped that curb there. This is where my friend fell over drunk one day. We had to carry her home. This here is the pothole that I broke my car on. And literally that was the date. The best bit was we turned into one of the estate. He said to me, you said this area wasn't rough. I said, it's not. There was a bonfire in the middle of the street. And he literally went, oh, right, okay. We had a laugh and a joke. I took him back to his car, said goodbye. And funny enough, I didn't see him again. I don't think he was impressed with the bonfire in the street, but I still laugh about that story today. That was one little insight into one of my many dating stories. And I didn't go on another date then for a couple of years later. Barrie Island didn't make it past date one. That wasn't meant to be. I don't think he was impressed with the bonfire that was in the middle of the street. So that was one of my first little dating stories. Around for the next insight into one of the stories. My question is, which story do you want to hear next? Do you want to hear about 7-foot man, thermal curtains, Robo Arm, Bob the Car Man, or the rock climber? You let me know. Anyway, I'm going to keep the best till last. I'm going to keep the catfish man until the very last story that I tell you. And that might be very much later on in the year, but that is the best story. Keep your ears out for that one. That's enough from me. Have an absolutely fabulous day and week. Thanks for listening. If you've liked what you've listened to, do you fancy giving me a cheeky review on Podchaser? Or, if there's something you'd like me to discuss, just write a comment under one of my posts on Instagram. Just to finish up, remember, see the positives even in the little things. Have an absolutely amazing week. Chat soon.